friends, welcome back to another video. Today I'm actually going to be doing a tag, which I haven't done since I started this YouTube channel, so that's very exciting, and it's called Bring Browsing Back. I will tag the person who created it down below. I was tagged by Bookish Nisha, who is the cutest little thing. There are 4 prompts / questions. I'm not really sure what they're called. This is the first time I've done one of these. So the first prompt is called Magic of Discovery, and it says, share a book you found while browsing that you may not have discovered otherwise. I actually just started reading fiction again last year, so I don't really have that many books that I found while browsing because I became a member of Book of the Month like right away. But I did pick out 2 or 3 of them that I wanted to share with you guys. One of them I've read, one of them I have, well, the other 2 I have not, but one of them I found while browsing in person, and the other one I found while browsing on the internet. Now, I'm assuming that this tag is like bring back browsing as in like bookstores, so that's why I also included one that I found in person. The first one is actually a book that I just read, my last video I'm pretty sure, where I talk about it, and that is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Now, I already shared all of my thoughts and opinions on this in my last video, but I found this while browsing. I saw this at Walmart every single time we went to the store, and I had not yet started reading fiction again. After I got out of high school, I became involved in like a business, and it was like solely personal growth books and spiritual growth books, and that's it. And so I felt really guilty if I read anything that wasn't that. So I hadn't read fiction in many years. So yeah, technically I found this while browsing at Walmart, if that counts. The other book I found while browsing at Barnes & Noble, and I didn't realize that this was actually kind of a well-known book. I'd never heard of it, never seen it, and that is A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. And this just looked so cool, and I just saw it on the shelf and thought, okay, I don't even know what that's about, but I'm getting it. It looks so cool. The cover is really amazing. It's like kind of reflective, shiny, I can't think of the word, but it's so cool. It's about an assassin, like the king's favorite assassin that goes to fight evil, but then the evil like isn't what it seems. So I'm assuming that the king is like hiding some kind of secret. I don't know, but it sounds amazing, and I'm super excited to read this. I'm hoping I'll be able to read it next year, like in the next couple months, I hope. And then the third book I found while browsing on Amazon, I'd never heard of it, never seen it, but it looked flippin' sweet. And that's Poisoned by Jennifer Donnelly. And I'm assuming that this is a Snow White spinoff, obviously because of the apple. And in the back it says, break the enchanted mirror, crush the poisoned apple, seize your own happily ever after. I am so excited to read this. So I was like the biggest Disney buff growing up. Like I was obsessed with Disney so bad. I wanted to be a Disney princess. I wanted to be in a Disney movie. Anything that has like spin-offs to Disney, I'm all about. I can't wait to read all of like the Twisted fairy tale ones that came out a few years ago, but they just look so cool. And then this also really reminds me of like Regina from Once Upon a Time, and the Snow White in there is Jennifer Goodwin, and she just plays the best Snow White ever. She's really BA, and I'm assuming that's probably what this Snow White is gonna be like. So I'm very excited to read this. And let's just put it out there right now that Lana Parrilla plays the best evil queen of all time. Like they literally could not have picked anybody better. Amazing. Prompt number 2 says, expanding world. Share a book that has made you view things from a different perspective or exposed you to new ideas. And this one was kind of hard for me to like think of something, but then I realized that one of my recent reads actually is like right up the alley for this. I mean, it's perfect. And that is The Maid by Nita Prose. I loved this book so much. It's so cozy and just beautiful, and I love it. So the main character, Molly, it is assumed that she has autism and that she is somewhere on the spectrum, and she just provided such a unique perspective. I have never read a book with that perspective before, and I don't know if there are a whole lot. I'm assuming not. I've never heard anybody talk about one. So when I started this, I kind of caught on to it. I was like, something's different here with like the way she's viewing things. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure she's autistic. Like I kind of could tell, but like I also didn't want to like assume that, you know? So after I looked up some other reviews, a lot of people had said the same thing. So I just love the perspective so much, and the way that she sees things, the way that she sees the best in everybody, and I loved it so much. And one of the things, and this is so random, but this is one of the things that I took from it. I was telling my husband this at breakfast yesterday when we went out to eat. I was like, Molly and the maid, like, chews so thoroughly when she eats. Like, she was taught for proper digestion, you need to chew your food this many times. And so ever since I read that, I've been trying to be so conscious about like really chewing my food thoroughly before I swallow. And I know that's like the most random thing, but I feel like it's really important. Like, it's really important for your gut health. So that's something I've been trying to do. And it actually kind of got her in trouble when she was being interviewed by the detective. She had a muffin and she was eating the muffin, and the detective was asking her questions, but she didn't answer right away because she was eating a muffin. And so she's thinking in her head, like, I need to like thoroughly chew this food before I swallow it. So she wasn't able to answer right away. So then of course the detective's like, okay, you're like evading my question, like obviously you're guilty, but she was just trying to like have good digestion. And then the other thing that I really clung to was the 3 E's that her grandmother had, and that was, let me see if I can think of it, etiquette, erudition, and elocution. And I just love that whole idea. I want to make sure that I'm classy and that I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to certain topics, and that I'm honest. And just those 3 things were just so fabulous to me, and so I try to keep those on the forefront of my mind. And yes, so this just gave me a really great perspective with Molly's mindset, and just the way that she spoke and the way that she saw things, and her perception on reality is just beautiful. And yeah, so I highly recommend this book if you haven't seen it yet. My vlog was kind of long about it, but it was so good. I definitely cried, but what's new? Okay, and then the third prompt is open to change. Share a book that has changed who you are as a person or altered your day-to-day habits. Like I said, I read nothing but personal growth and spiritual growth books for years, so I have a lot of options for this. My number one answer would of course be the Bible, so I of course recommend that to anybody and everybody. But if you're not ready for that step, then the book that I highly, highly, highly recommend, that I love so much, is Kind is the New Classy by Candace Cameron Bure. I adore her so much. So much. I know there are a lot of things on social media about her, and all I can say is don't believe everything you read or see. I think she's wonderful, and honestly, I don't think you can deny that she is a class act. I really don't think you can deny that. She's so classy, and I love her. So I'm going to share a few parts out of this book because it is so good. Here's one of the parts that I thought was a really good sum of kind of what this book is about. Kindness isn't all meek and mild. Kindness is powerful, because think about it. Kindness transcends every barrier we can put up between us, whether religious, political, racial, or anything else that divides us. It's potent stuff. On this previous page that I have highlighted, it says, we don't have to only be friends with like-minded people. We simply need to be kind to all people regardless of whether we agree with them. We're all made in the image of God, no exceptions, and Jesus was kind to all, no exceptions. Who are we to think we can act differently? Whew. Oh, that's so good. And of course, you know, it's pretty out there that Candace is a Christian conservative, and Whoopi Goldberg is the complete opposite. She is very on the left spectrum of a lot of political beliefs. Now, I truly believe that we can have good friendships with people who have opposite beliefs than us, and I think that no matter what, we should show people kindness. And I think that Whoopi was a great example of that in this first little epilogue of this book. So what had happened was there was I don't know if it was like a bomb threat or a potential shooting at one of the schools that Candace's child attends. I think it was her son. And of course, she was an emotional wreck. She couldn't get home. She had to go on stage for the show and everything. And she was just completely distraught, as any mother would be. So she's sitting in her dressing room just sobbing, just a mess, trying to pull herself together, but you know, she's scared. And somebody knocked on the door and she was like, I'm not answering the door, you know, I need to sit here and cry. And the knocking was persistent. She finally opened the door and it was Whoopi Goldberg. May I come in? She asked gently. And yes, I managed to whisper. She took a step into my dressing room, and I'm sorry if I cried because this is just, yeah, these are the things that make me sob. She took a step into my dressing room and closed the door behind her. There she stood with open arms as she said, come here. See, here we go already. She hugged me like a mama bear hugs and protects her babies. I sobbed into her shoulder, knowing I was probably getting her crisp white shirt smeared with mascara. She didn't care about the shirt. She kept hugging me until I decided to let go. "You're gonna be fine," she said. "I've got your back. I won't let you fall out there. It's gonna be okay. Just speak from your heart today." That simple act of kindness was more valuable to me than any extravagant present. It was genuine kindness, pure and simple. Whoopi saw me in distress, and she offered compassion and protection, not because she owed it to me or because it would bring her personal gain, but simply as a selfless act. She put herself in my shoes and offered exactly what she would have wanted in that moment if our roles had been reversed. Because of that moment of kindness, I was able to walk onto set with a little more hope that day, just when I needed it most. Whoopi has not always been so kind to her, of course, but she was in the moment that Candace needed it the most. And I want to be sure that I'm that person for people, and I think that's why this book was so convicting to me, because I know that I haven't been a lot of times. And I think a really great point that this makes too, in regards to being a Christian, Candace says, "Years ago I made a decision to serve Jesus with every aspect of my life, so I often think, what will people say about Jesus because of me?" In both the entertainment industry and my personal life, this question really motivates me, and no one better exemplifies kindness than him. This book is it's very convicting, but it also sets fantastic examples and gives really great tips on controlling your thoughts, controlling your temper, things to say even when you don't want to say them, how to prepare, how to empathize, how to relinquish control, and just so many great things. And then the last thing that I wanted to read you guys from this book before I finally end this video was the very last chapter. Actually, she shared another story of when she was on a show. A panel questions 3 people. 2 of them are telling the truth and 1 of them is lying, and they have to figure out which one is lying. And so the co-host, or I guess the main host, is Anthony Anderson, and then his mother Doris was the scorekeeper, and she would keep making like snide remarks and comments to like get under people's skin. One of the things that she says to Anthony about Candace is, "Move on, she's stupid, she's got dumb questions." And that like shocked Candace to be said that, like to be told that to her face in person, because she's used to it on social media. People will say whatever they want on social media because there's no reprimand for it. So it says, "When it was time for me to ask a follow-up question, I admitted openly that I couldn't think of another question because I was still stunned that Mama Doris called me stupid. Mama shot back that if it bothered me that much, I should have come back at her if I had the guts. I don't play that way," I told her. "It's not my style and it never will be, so why don't you be you and I'll be me." Then, growing in courage, I realized I had the floor and I decided I was going to use it for good. So I told her that I forgave her for calling me stupid because Jesus forgave me first, and I walked over to her and gave her a hug. I'll admit it was kind of awkward and I was a bit uneasy afterward, but Mama Doris never came after me again. In fact, she backed me up for the rest of the show. After we finished taping, Doris approached me. She wanted me to know that her defiant attitude was her shtick on the show, and she didn't think I'd be offended. She said she didn't even think I could be rattled after being on The View, so she went for it. Mama Doris was right in that nothing could get me to attack back. Not then and not now, but it didn't mean I didn't want to. As she walked away, she told me she was proud of me. She passed a colleague, pointed back at me, and simply said, "I like that girl." Kindness is a choice. Sometimes it's an easy one to make and we reap immediate benefits. Other times it's one of the hardest choices you'll ever make. And extending grace to someone who has hurt you or riled you will go against everything your heart is telling you. My advice? Choose it anyway. Your life won't change overnight. I've learned these lessons about living graciously over the course of many years, and God isn't done with me yet. I still have a lot to learn about how to live in a way that glorifies Him, and I'm so grateful He's still working on me, teaching me how to respond to others like He does. I hope to perpetually be a student in the school of kindness. As a fellow Christian, I totally relate to her in a lot of the ways that she talks about, because as a Christian, you get poked at a lot. A lot. Like, a lot of my family isn't Christian, and if I say something or do something sarcastic, like make fun of somebody, like joking around, I'll always get a comment like, "Wow, some Christian you are, like aren't you supposed to be a Christian?" and yada yada yada. And it just like, it's so hard because we're held to a higher standard, and even if I wasn't like seriously being mean, it's like I'm always getting put down because of it, and it's so hard. And she talks about that in this book, which is really helpful because I struggle with it a lot. And it makes me not want to be kind. Like, just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean I think I'm perfect. If anything, it means I know I'm not perfect and I know I need Jesus. So the last prompt is actually to show you my local bookstore or my friend's shelves. and it is heavily snowing outside, so I don't think I'm gonna make the 45-minute drive to our bookstore. I do want to do a different vlog going to the bookstore. It's so cute and cozy. It's super tiny. It's literally got one aisle with bookshelves on the sides. And there's a cozy little fireplace in the front with like fun little bookish things. There's a little coffee place and a co-op attached to it. I've never gotten anything from there, but I will for the next video, or for that video I guess I should say. But it's so cute. And I don't have any other friends that read fiction books, so I can't show you my friend shelves. That's all I have to share for this. I'm supposed to tag people, but I don't really know people in the bookish community here yet. So if you want to do it, I encourage you to do it. I'm excited to learn about more books and more people and make more friends. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. Thanks so much for being here, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye!